Why do we network? We network to get more sales, prospect, developing customer base. We meet new people. We talked about that. I like this one. Let me tell you a story. I was considering the Century 21 franchise in Romania. Century 21 and Remax is huge in North America. And I got really, really close to signing on the dotted line of a franchise. And I said, I better call someone. So I called my brother, who's a mentor of mine. He's much older. I said, I want to get in this real estate. This is before the recession, okay? This is like in 2007. He says, my brother says, you got to call someone who's owned a franchise, someone who's managed a franchise. Call Bob. His name is Bob Visi. I got on the phone. I said, Bob, I'm Ray's brother. Yeah. I said, I want to buy a franchise. I'm nuts about real estate. What do you think? He says, tell me the business model. Well, the business model was very different here than it was in Canada. I had to buy cars for my sales reps. I didn't have a car yet, and I had to buy cars for my sales reps. I had to pay them a base salary. I mean, there's a lot of predicament. He says, Paul, he says, no. I said, why? He says, but fundamentally, the common sense was, he asked me, are you going to sell real estate? I said, well, I don't sell real estate. I'm a foreigner. I don't speak the language. He says, well, let me make sure I understand. You're going to get into real estate, and you're not going to sell yourself. No. He said, well, then there's your answer. He says, in real estate, regardless of the model, you have to get involved. You have to sell. You have to go rent property. Now, it would have been a challenge for me to do that. I wouldn't have been very effective. My Romanian is asha. But here's a business guy, right? I'm a marketer, and I'm buying a franchise, and I'm missing something which is completely obvious, that I have to sell myself. So good, honest, common sense advice with no skin in the game. Bob Visi lives in Calgary. He doesn't care about me. He knows my brother, he knows me, but he wants to give me some good, sound advice. So at times, and part of what I do as a coach, is when I'm meeting people like Paul or George, and they're saying, you know, my career, my business is not going, is because you're so involved in something you can't see straight. It's win-win. Networking has to be win-win. It's always win-win. It's not if I give Yulia my lead and she doesn't give me something, win-lose, I'm not going to give it to her because she's not going to reciprocate. No. If I give you a lead, maybe you'll give me one later, but the impression you go into this relationship with a win-win attitude. It's not what I want to make sure is that you're not getting a network because it's the end. I want you to get into the frame of mind of networking. This is something you don't do today and you don't do tomorrow and then maybe you think about it the next day. No, you always have to be networking. This last example is also very good. My accountant, his name is Dragos, a typical accountant, not exactly a people person. Does his job very well, but he's not exactly the most exciting guy you want to bring at a party. Okay? I said, Dragos, I went to a conference, I met this Dutch national, he's new in Romania, he wants an accountant. I told him, talk to my accountant. He says, I don't want your client. Hold on, I said, I'm going to give you a lead. The guy's name, I don't want your client. I said, hold on here, I don't get it. He says, Paul, I don't want all the clients. I want good clients. I said, explain that to me. Well, if they're good clients, they'll pay me. I won't have to run after them for payment, and there's a trust. He says, look at you. You came through Maria. I trust you. If you don't pay me the next month, I don't worry. But he says, I don't want all the clients. I want good clients. So networking is one way of getting you better clients. You talk to one person, that person talks to another person, that person talks to another person. So because I'm giving a lead to Danielle, it doesn't mean Danielle's going to come back to me, but Danielle may be speaking to Andre will be speaking to Tudor will speak to Dan will speak to Maris will speak to Juana, Paul will talk to Paul. Eventually, I'll get a contact. But that's how it works. Your family, friends, salespeople, the people at the gym, the last 5 jobs, the last people you spoke to at the bank, people in line. These are all contacts. People you meet at the supermarket, waiters, waitresses, managers. These are all contacts. They're not necessarily warm contacts, but they're contacts nevertheless. The first rule in networking is that if you network only to get something in return, you lose. So that's my trick. Stealth at the door. You stay at the door, pretend you're watching the phone. Some people walk by, you don't know them, and the minute someone walks by and you grab them, you say hello, you're inevitably going to see 1 or 2 people you know. Let 10 of those happen, and then when you go in the room, you've got 10, 20, 30 people that you can talk to. That's the icebreaker. Now, it takes a bit of courage. Now, if you do the stealth at the front door, it's a lot easier because you've met Ioana and you've met George and you're talking to 2 or 3 people. Why is it when you meet someone that you have to make them feel like the most important person in the world? When you're meeting Mircea, and I'm focused on Mircea, I want to make him feel like he's the most important person in the world. Why? Because for Mircea, he is the most important person in the world. Forget the pizza. I'm not talking pizza here. I'm talking about, Andre, when I mention your name, it rings a bell. When I say Yulia, what do you think? Even when you're talking to the waiter, if Tudor was a waiter, Tudor, could you help us out here? We want 2 coffees. Instead of saying, hey, I want 2 coffees. Tudor, could you get me 2 coffees, please? I mean, people love hearing their name. So when you're engaged with someone for the next 2 or 3 or 5 minutes, you focus and you make them feel as if they're the most important person in the world or in the room, because they are the most important person in the world. So let's summarize. Networking is a state of mind. It's not like I'm going to start it today and try it tomorrow. No, get into the mindset that this is something you need to do, but don't look at it as a task or something which is dreadful. Have an open mind about it. Who do you know? If you forget anything I've talked about, when you're talking to someone and it's not going to work out, Paul is not going to be able to help me, but I'm nice meeting him and I'm engaged, but he's not going to be able to help me. Paul, who do you know that can help me get financing for my business? And you might say, well, I don't know someone, but I know Ioana who might know someone else. Who do you know? Be a catalyst in Romania. You're very young, and this is what I like doing what I do with you now, is you are what I call la relève. You are the next level of entrepreneurs and next level business people. You haven't moved out of the country. You believe in your country. And I'm a big believer in Romania, by the way. So be a catalyst. Be different, lead. Take the initiative. Offer to network with your colleagues. Don't network to get something in return. It doesn't work that way. It's okay to help people. Right?